In this problem, we want to write a method that checks an array for an odd number followed by an even number. First, we're going to find the odd number, then we'll start looking at that position, the position of the odd number for an even, and return the distance between them. Return -1 if there are no odd numbers or no odd numbers followed by an even. Okay, so we've got to loop through this array, first looking for the odd number. And when we find it, we need to keep track of that position. So let's do that with a Boolean. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll create a Boolean variable. We'll just call it x, or actually let's call it odd, equals false, because we're starting where there are no odd numbers. And then we're going to need a counter, so int count, and we'll start that count at 0 so we can count the spaces once we find an odd number, how many spaces we need or elements until we get to an even. Okay, now we're going to need to traverse the array, so for int I, we'll use I as the loop variable starting at 0, and we'll go to the length, so array.length, and we don't need parentheses around after the length since it's an instance variable and not a method, and then we'll increment our count variable. Okay, so now we're going to need a condition. So if we find an odd number, so that would be the array element starting with I is 0, and mod 2, if it was even, that element mod 2 would equal 0. So since we're looking for an odd, we'll do not equal to 0. And once we find that odd value, we're going to change the status of our Boolean to true. Okay, now we'll have a condition that says if odd is true, and now we need to check and see if an element is even. So if odd is true and array I mod 2 is, well, I guess we're looking to see for another, yeah, if it's even, we would return, so we first want to check and see if it's odd. So not equal to 0, because if we have an odd next to an odd, then we need to increment our count. So we'll increment the count, and then if odd and even, then we'll return the number of spaces between. Okay, and if it never finds that situation, we return -1. Okay, so let's go ahead and compile. Oh, what do I have? An Boolean bad operand for binary type. Oh, I need a double equals. There we go. And we got it.